Hi, this is DS Yvonne at reprogrammingmind.com, and today we're going to take a look at a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself: How to Lose Your Mind and Create a New One. Now, this book is chopped up into three parts, and the first two parts of it really are the foundation of it. So what we're going to do is focus on not just part one, but chapter one, the quantum you, because if you can get an understanding of what this is, then it makes it so much easier to be able to build on top of that understanding to be able to break the habit of being yourself. All right, so let's get into chapter one, the quantum you. Now, if I were to sum up this first chapter, it would be one of these headings, which is thoughts plus feelings produce test tube results. Now, I'm going to unpack this right here and now and show you what that means, along with how powerful that is to know. All right, so chapter one, it introduces you to a bit of quantum physics, and it's important to embrace the concept that your mind has an effect on your world. The observer effect in quantum physics states that where you direct your attention is where you place your energy. Now, one of the reasons why people have a challenge being able to break away from the way that they are perceiving themselves in the world is because they're trapped in a Newtonian viewpoint of the world, this old belief system. So Descartes and Newton established a mindset that if reality operated on mechanistic principles, then humanity had little influence on outcomes. But of course, all that was blown apart when Albert Einstein produced his famous equation E equals mc squared, demonstrating that energy and matter are so fundamentally related that they are one and the same. So this directly contradicted Newton and Descartes and ushered in a new understanding of how the universe functioned. Now, I want to give you a couple quotes here from Dr. Dispenza's book, where he says, if an atom is 99.99999% energy and 0.00001% physical substance, then we are more nothing than something. And then he says, isn't it ironic then that we keep all of our attention on that 0.00001% of reality that is physical? Are we missing something? Right? And this is such an incredible point, because when you understand that we're living in this quantum universe, then you realize that spending your time and energy on what is really only spending your time on such an insignificant portion that it really doesn't have that much bearing on reality. Okay, so let's just unpack this even more by taking a look at a study that was done that he references in his book. So they had these three groups of people, and they had each one of them holding a test tube with DNA in it. And the reason that they use DNA is because DNA is more solid, it's more rigid, it's more stable than cells and bacteria. Okay, so with these three groups, group one, they had them hold this DNA, and they had them feel strong, elevated feelings of love and appreciation. Right, so for 2 minutes, they're holding it. Now, group two, they also had them hold this test tube of DNA, and they were feeling strong, elevated feelings as well, and having the intention in their mind to change that DNA. Now, the third group, all that they did was they would also hold that test tube of DNA, but instead of feeling any emotions, all they would do is just hold in their mind the intention to change that DNA. So what happened was, with group one, zero difference, nothing happened. With group three, again, nothing happened, there was zero difference. But this is what's most striking. With group two, there was up to a 25% change in DNA. And this is remarkable. And what's most striking about it is that they were able to wind and unwind the structure of DNA just with thoughts and feelings, right? Just with their intentions and their feelings. Now, those of you that are science nerds, like perhaps I am, you might want to take a look at the study, which is right here, Modulation of DNA Conformation by Heart-Focused Intention. And I want you to take a look at this one line down here which says, sustained positive emotions such as appreciation, love, or compassion are associated with highly ordered or coherent patterns in the heart rhythms, reflecting greater synchronization between the two branches of the autonomic nervous system. So, in other words, the quantum field responds not to what we want, it responds to who we are being. So when you just allow that to sink in for a moment, then really think about how you are allowing yourself to be in the world and what kind of feelings and emotions that you're producing day to day habitually. And then that'll give you an understanding as to how things keep staying the same. And I'm just going to open that up a little bit more. Here are some quotes that he has in his book about some of the common and habitual thought patterns that people have. Some thoughts might be, I'll never get a new job, or no one ever listens to me, or he always makes me feel angry, or everyone uses me. I want to call it quits, or my life sucks, or it's my genetics, I'm just like my mother, right? So if thoughts and feelings are producing events in the quantum universe, then obviously staying in this same type of stagnant emotional state of being is only going to be producing more and more of the same. Now, I want to just go and talk about these words here like never and no one ever and has always and everyone. These are known as universal quantifiers. And so when I'm coaching somebody, I always tell them to stop using those kinds of words because in a sense they're falsehoods. Right? When someone says, "Oh, everyone uses me," well, that's not entirely true. I'm sure there's somebody that's on the other side of the planet that's not using you, right? It only takes one tiny contradiction to make that whole blanket statement of these universal quantifiers untrue. So if you ever find yourself saying stuff like never or always or everyone does this, think about that, right? And say it right back to yourself. Like for myself, when I think, you know what, oh, I'll never get this video finished, I just say that word right back to myself, like, oh, never? And then I realize, oh yeah, that's a falsehood. And I'm kind of keeping myself in that prison of my own thinking by using that kind of languaging that keeps me locked into that old thinking and prevents the possibility and the potential of being able to extend beyond my current reality. All right, so one thing you may want to do is to be able to notice your languaging and to ensure that you're not using these kinds of universal quantifiers. Also, I want to talk about this last sentence here where he says, it's my genetics, I'm just like my mother. You know, there's a study called epigenetics, epi meaning above, and what that means is, you know, we can go above our genetics through thoughts, right? We can use our thoughts to be able to actually change our gene expression. And if you want more details on that, you might want to check out the work by Dr. Bruce Lipton and his book, The Biology of Belief. All right, so let's get right back on track here with chapter 1 here on the quantum you. So in terms of quantum creating, can you give thanks for something that exists as a potential in the quantum field but has not yet happened in your reality? Now, I want to give you a silly example of this. Let's say that I picked some kind of weird, bizarre notion that hasn't happened yet, and let's say it's to win the Academy Award for Best Actor when I'm 100 years old. Okay, now I haven't had any acting lessons. I'm not really interested in all that, but let's just use this as an example. Think about how bizarre that is. But what I want you to do is think about how to apply that for yourself. Some kind of really rich, wonderful notion, some perhaps wildest dream of yours that you can envision and imagine and bring not just that thought or intention to it, but also have it ensconced with your own feelings so that you're really being able to absorb the state of being that expresses that true understanding of what it would feel like to be living that wildest dream of yours. Because if so, you are moving from cause and effect, which is waiting for something outside of you to make a change inside of you, to causing an effect, which is about changing something inside of you to produce an effect outside of you. Now, that's a direct quote from Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Because after all, when you think back to that test tube results that they had, where thoughts plus feelings produced those test tube results, and people were able to actually make shifts in DNA. All right, so when you recognize that this is a real thing, then it makes it a lot easier to be breaking the habit of being yourself by understanding the true value of being able to control your states of being in ways that are far more empowering for you and are a greater representation of the you that you would rather be becoming. All right, so I hope you enjoyed my synopsis of Chapter 1, The Quantum You, from Dr. Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And if you'd like access to more of these videos, be sure to subscribe so that you'll be notified as soon as they are uploaded. And also, I appreciate comments and thumbs ups and thumbs downs, so be sure to integrate some of that into your viewing pleasure. Thank you. Bye for now.